All right, we're here with the first video of the day. We're going to talk about Electronic Arts teams up with the ADL to enforce social justice in gaming. Yeah, you got that right. Electronic Arts is going super duper woke. The games industry is being pushed by Germany and Electronic Arts in a direction that, if successful, would mean the mass deplatforming of right-wingers and free speech in gaming. Yeah, not like white supremacists or racists, just right-wingers in general. Here it comes, people. They're coming just to ban one side, and then that way all they have is their side. And then that's all you can follow, because that's all they'll allow. The Anti-Defamation League, which is trash, and the big names in Silicon Valley have already signed on to similar projects in the US, all of which, if successful, will mean the inevitable control of gaining by the woke. Probably gaming. It starts with Germany. Martin Lorber, Electronic Arts Public Relations Director for German-speaking countries, announced in April a dual project between itself, the German government, and two new organizations. Good Gaming, Well-Played Democracy, and Keinen Pixel den Faschisten, or No Pixels for Fascists. Sorry. Their stated goal is to make sure gamers do not become radicalized into neo-Nazis. However, even the smallest bit of digging reveals that this project is in truth nothing more than a full-throated attempt to force the games industry and social media platforms to bow down before social justice. The two organizations joining this collaboration contain some of the most radical activists for social justice inside Germany. The organization behind Good Gaming are the Amadou Antonio Foundation, a left-wing activist group headed by former frequent Stasi informant Annette Kahane. Kahane's foundation got in trouble last year when a brochure sent to a German school suggested you could recognize a girl's family as far right if a girl wears dresses and does chores. Wow. Good Gaming writes, its job is to analyze how right-wing alternative actors are increasingly trying to foment a misanthropic atmosphere on gaming platforms. They have a problem with right-wingers enjoying space on Steam, for example. Social media posts show their plan is a propaganda war, that they want to educate young people to recognize hate online and push back against right-wing ideas. Man, that sure does sound like, oh, what's the word? I don't know. A bit fascistic, isn't it? Maybe exactly what they espouse that they hate against is exactly what they're trying to do. As bad as that is, her big sister is far worse. No Pixels for Fascists is a far-left grassroots anti-fascist organization made up of websites, media figures, news organizations, research groups, and game studios. Their stated goals include educating organizations and people about how gamers get radicalized into becoming far-right and how the right wing uses internet spaces according to their documents. This includes teaching organizations and individuals how to identify right-wing mindsets alone by looking at online social media profiles. So basically judging people without any actual evidence. Just being like, oh yeah, they basically do this and this, so they're just right-wing and they're evil. Whatever they say, it could be anything. Basically just wearing dresses and doing chores is just a symbol of right-wing, and that's evil. No Pixels co-founders are Pascal Wagner, a left-wing German journalist, and Aurelia Brandenburg, a lefty historian blogger. Their organization harbors a deep hatred for gamers and is a proponent of the game's right-wing radicalization myth. You know what's crazy is that they're journalists. This is almost starting to sound like Gamergate 2.0. And the fact that there's two journalists just trying to spearhead it almost pretty much seems like, yeah, this could be another Gamergate 2.0. I think they're trying to start things back up again. And gamers are not going to be happy. You need to leave gamers alone. They are not political people. At least not usually. And if you just force them into it, it's going to be terrible. Just awful. According to Brandenburg, gamers are actively anti-diversity and right-wing. They are full of toxic nerd masculinity in their treehouse, as they actively fight to make sure nobody except cis white males can play video games. That is insane. Jeez. And EA wants to be a part of this? Well, of course they are, because I guess they want to be super hyper woke. It's not like their software isn't just utter trash, doesn't sell your data. I don't know how many times they've been hacked and lost people's credit card information. I think probably, like, what, a good 5 or 6 times? Something like that? I'm probably a bit exaggerated on the number, but it's happened a few times. Like, their software is not good. It's terrible. And they force you. It's mandatory. EA is just awful. And then they're going to force you just to be, like, into this hyper-woke social justice political sense as they force you to go onto their software. Just in order to play, like, what, 1 or 2 games that people enjoy. The only games that people enjoy are, what, Star Wars Battlefront 2 and, what, maybe Battlefield? Maybe. I don't think anyone plays really Battlefield anymore because that just turned to trash. And everyone just went to Call of Duty after that. I think that played Battlefield. What else do you have? The Crew? Like, if I find a game that is basically an EA game, I'm not going to buy it. Because I have to then go onto their software, and I'm not going through that because it's horrible to go through. It never works. You always have to reset your password every single time, and I don't know why. It just never wants to sign you in ever. This progressive bias is relevant because it shows a hollowness to the scientific basis of this project and the naked ambitions of the organizations driving it. No Pixels advocates that scientific research gets used exclusively to prove how evil and problematic gamers and game spaces are, even so far that objective scientific work must always take a backseat to fulfill their ideological and political needs. That premise is entirely flawed. Gamers are not, in fact, toxic or overwhelmingly right-wing. Well, they're pretty toxic, I will say that. Well, let's just say there are spaces of just overwhelming toxicity, but it's learning how to recognize where those spaces are and then just avoiding it, because you don't need to. There are certain games where yeah, the chat is pretty toxic, but it's not like right-wing fascistic Nazi stuff. No, it's just people telling you a whole bunch of swears to probably kill yourself, which is horrible because, well, I don't know, that's what they got into, I guess, but that's pretty much it. I wouldn't consider or say that's right-wing, although they'll probably say it is. But that's probably the worst of what people say, and it's like, if you take that, like, to heart, then maybe you shouldn't be online at that point, because, yeah, I mean, it can be toxic, but you just need to, like I said, you need to take it all with a grain of salt. Just, it's not that important in the grand scheme of things, people talking to you online in a negative fashion. But when you start creating negative articles and you start aligning yourself with organizations that want to just shut down right-wing groups, yeah, then I think there's some issues. So yeah, I mean, this basically just goes on to say, you know, just how bad they are. And then it says, this takeover of gaming doesn't stop in Germany, but is global. Last week, nonprofit organization Games for Change unveiled its advisory board for raising good gamers. In an English mirroring of the No Pixels project, this effort, supported by the Anti-Defamation League, Facebook, Google, Microsoft, EA, Ubisoft, and others aim to create a more diverse, inclusive, and positive online environment for youth. This push is almost an English mirror to No Pixels. It harbors the same disdain of gamers and wishes to remake gaming in its own image. To quote their white paper, gaming culture is exclusionary and discriminatory, reproducing and encoding systems of bias and inequality that pervade society as a whole. To them, gaming and gamers must become important and potentially powerful tools for achieving broader goals of social justice. The thing is they don't want people to be diverse. They don't want gaming to be diverse. They want gaming to be political, and they want the power in that politics. Oh, they want the power of being able to control the whole gaming industry under their fingertips. That is what they want. And that's what they're slowly starting to get. They infected most of our media, and they're just going after our games. And we saw that with, like, The Last of Us 2. They were even trying to blame people. They were trying to blame, people who said they weren't going to buy The Last of Us 2 because, yeah, it went super woke. It went horribly woke. They completely destroyed their entire game to have a social justice platform on it. And it's a shame. But you know what? I don't think gamers are going to stand up to this. I don't think a Gamergate's going to... We're going to have a probably Gamergate 2.0. It's going to happen. I see it because they need... The woke, the social justice people need to infect themselves into every last bit of society. That's the culture war. It's about infecting yourself and sowing seeds into every bit. And if they get away with this, I mean, they're literally just going to ban all right-wing. They don't even say far-right or neo-Nazis in their stuff. They literally just mean right-wing people. Just people that slightly differ in values from their own, even. Anyone who disagrees, shut them down and destroy them. That seems to be their motto, I guess. So we even have, we got from Reclaim the Internet, because this was an article that was going around last year in 2019. In some forums that I managed to, I was doing some research and everything, and yeah, here we go. This is probably one of the best memes I saw on it. So we got, 2020, and then he just covers it up, Gamer 2014. That's what I'm saying. It's going to happen again. Journalists seem to be rearing up for a second go. We got from Reclaim the Net. Activists create No Pixels for Fascist campaign maligning gamers and YouTubers as fascist enablers. Activists in Germany are again attempting to create narratives that the gaming community, particularly online, is rife with bigots and bigoted behaviors such as racism and misogyny. Basically, they're saying it's like they align themselves with, Anti-Defamation League, bunch of different YouTubers, some developers, podcasters, journalists, bloggers, and then, people from the LGBT whatever community. And then this quote, this specifically paragraph is one that just kind of made me chuckle. In the interview, Wagner specifically mentioned Gamergate as a hate movement that was used by programmer U.S. President Donald Trump and his associates in the run-up to the 2016 election. That is one of the craziest things I think I've heard. One, Donald Trump being a pro-gamer. What? He never used that movement. Didn't that movement happen before he was even, set up for the election? Like, even announced? I think it was even before the primaries were even starting. What was it, 2014? Yeah, so why would you say that that would be a run-up to the 2016 election? It had nothing to do with the election. It had a lot to do with the politicization of journalism and gaming media and how gamers despise it. But the journalists wanted it, and they couldn't stop, and they needed the power, and there was so much other stuff involved, and they couldn't let that go. But when the gamers found out, they weren't quite happy. And I don't think the journalists have gotten over it, so I could see them starting it again. Yeah. They were also saying they were going... Basically, the No Pixels for Fascists saying they were going to people's Steam profiles, saying they've got all this neo-Nazi stuff on their profile, and say they're going to roll over people with tanks and stuff. And it's like, what are you talking about? Who even goes to people's profiles on Steam? You, I guess, and only you. Did you search up on Steam names? Hitler, Nazi. You're gonna find them if you search. Of course you're going to. There's going to be accounts like that. But that's not going to be the majority. That's going to be a very, very minute amount of people that you are hyper-focused on trying to find. We also I also have the German website up here of what they actually say. Apparently in this forum, it was, translated so gamers could figure it out, and it's a doozy. I don't even think I can read it, so if you guys want to try to translate it for yourself to make sure it is correct on here, or I don't know. You could try to find this, this forum. All I had to do was do a simple Google search, and I found it. It was one of the first results. So, it's not hard to find. On that note, I guess final notes on this. Gamergate 2.0. It looks like to be on the horizon. That's just a guess, but based on evidence, I don't know. It seems so. But we'll see. I'll cover it. I'll definitely be covering it because why should I cover Donald Trump's health? Like, he's going to be fine, and it's a waste of my time. But yet I still had to cover a video on it, and that's what's coming next. So I'll see you then. Bye.